Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It's a chess show on Pod TV. My name is Sasha Star, and today we have not one but two professors. Uh, Ken Regan, welcome to
Yep.
the show.
Thank you for having me on. Yeah,
Yeah,
my home.
excellent. And we have uh,
Dan.
Dan, of course, Dan Fleetwood.
Yeah,
Welcome to the show, Dan.
at Vanderbilt.
Yeah. Hi, Sasha. Hi, Ken. It's good to be back after several weeks of travels and end of semester final exams and stuff.
Okay, anyway, we are all together here today.
Mhm.
And there are so many things to look at. And Ken, what's your preference?
Well, I think most of the eyes in the world are on the Tech Mahindra Global Chess League in
Absolutely.
Mumbai being
Yeah.
played in person, and I have some marquee matchups, including one from today. And I actually want to begin by showing you something that to me is fairly remarkable, considering that this is a rapid match being played at game 20, so fast chess. So this was the, oops, where do I have it? Here I have it. Let's see. So tell me when chessboards come into view.
Oh,
I see chessboards.
Yes. So this was today's match against the PBG Alaska Knights, who actually have been having a really difficult time in the tournament. They went 4 matches without winning a single game. They finally won a match yesterday in the 5th round, and the 6th round played today. They lost very narrowly by 1 point, as you can see. But the remarkable thing, this is showing you the final positions of all 6 games today. And they're all in end games.
Yeah.
So rapid matches, rapid or not, they all came down to end games. And I'm going to show one of them because, I'm going to show a win by Gukesh today, a loss by him yesterday. Whoops, I'm not ready for that one. And that's what I have prepared here. Oh, so I am intending to click this board. So this is an interesting game. It's first of all Ali Reza playing a form of the London system as white. So there are lots of cracks about that.
I think it's a Jobava variation, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, So, and so what's interesting actually is, well, except for F3 being thrown in, it would be the white position. I don't know. I guess there's no real way to compare it. Now, the funny thing here is that black sacrifices 2 pawns and takes a while to recover them. And indeed, if you, there we are, 2 pawns. And now after this, you might think, wait, is black going to resign? I mean, 2 pawns down and got a knight on f6 that's under pin. But no, black is able to strike back by going here. We are going to win the c5 pawn back. And so it's important for white to play knight c3. If you play c3, then this, and it turns out that although I don't know what is black doing here, turns out actually that black is going to get quite a nice compensation and attack. White is very undeveloped in this position. So therefore, after queen a5 check, you bring the knight back to c3. Okay, and then black now. This appears to force black to capture the c pawn with his queen, but it actually does not, because on b4 black can take on c3. So I plays queen d2, which apparently is a mistake. That knight e2 is a better move. But now we get this kind of position where black's compensation is fairly evident now. White's up a pawn, but it's a damaged pawn on an open file. And the computer says that Gukesh has more than equalized in this position. And the rest of the game is cut and thrust. Again, this is rapid with no increment. So it's so you get 20 minutes for the game. And so this type of position really isn't necessarily going to end in a draw. Obviously, black is not going to capture on d3 yet, because that would solve white's pawn structure. Black still has tempi able to get pressure against white's position. And the latent threat here is to move the king out of the way, bring the other rook to c6, and then you will be able to win your pawn back. Actually threatening to win the pawn back right now with capture on d3, and white counterattacks. So white's one ability here is to use the king in the center and try to get play in the center of the board. Okay, so black does not capture on e5. Black could. The computer thinks that just capturing on e5 is the best move here, and leave it up to white to declare how you're going to get play. White will play knight f2, and black can win back the pawn, and then we play chess. But anyway, black decided to cash in right away. Now black's ready to come to the center, but white can ignore it. This is where it said this game is some nice cut and thrust aspect.
Wow.
So yeah, it's not mate. White's king is leading an attack, and white actually has a passed e pawn now. That's going to show that in a little way, because black's f pawn will fall. Well, black is going to win other things, and the blatant here is that black might have two passed pawns on the queen side. Here we go. Okay, so now it has the e pawn, and it is right around this point that Firouzja made a fateful decision, and he really wasn't super short on time. Okay, so all right, he's attacking, and he decided to sacrifice the exchange here. He doesn't have to. He can play king d4. Maybe he miscalculated some of the tactics that result from this, because this looks strange. And of course, what's going to happen is black's going to win white's knight on f6. So black may have thought, Firouzja may have thought that this was winning for black, but white has a fantastic resource that is more like playing checkers than playing chess. White can play rook d2 in this position.
Oh my goodness, that is wild.
Forking the rook and the knight.
That is awesome.
So if rook takes f6, well, then white can actually take on c3 with the king. So then after this, now there isn't a threat against white's knight on f6, and the computer actually thinks white has a slight edge in this position. Oh, it's really just a draw. Well, it's tactical.
Very nice.
So I rather think that Firouzja did not see this continuation, and so anything else, king e6, that does lose material. So you therefore sacrifice. So the sacrifice is not bad, because white has a pawn, and the e4 pawn and knight on d5 combination will be latently very strong. But Firouzja does have to beware that black does have an outside h pawn. Okay, so white will win the b6 pawn. Okay, so now we've got this kind of pure position, and well, it's 8 pieces on the board. We've made 7-piece tables, but not 8-piece tables. Probably one could tabulate this position and see whether white has enough counterplay to draw. But in any event, the latent fact on the ground is that Firouzja is shorter on time. And so, who knows? Why is king d4 a mistake? King d6 probably sets up perpetual checks. The other thing is that white's king should be going after the h pawn. It's the easiest way to assure a draw. So in fact, king f5 is my vote for the best move in this position. And then the computer really does see this as completely a draw. White's knight is anchored on d5, so white's king can afford to wander. Worse is worse, you lose the e pawn. But anyway, so now black pass pawns must be pushed, says the computer anyway. Now white is going to have one more chance to get the king after the pawn. So now Gukesh decided to try. Now it turns out king c6, even though it looks like sticking the king into a fork. Again, this is in rapid chess. This sort of thing is hard to it's maybe hard to evaluate, because you think you're walking into this, okay, and then this, okay, but black simply attacks
sure.
white's rook.
Right.
And well, there's not there. You might think, okay, is there a perpetual check here? What if I go back here? No, now you can go here, and you staved off the attack, and your pawn is running. So again, there are lots of interesting byplays in this position, but obviously King A6 looks like the safer move, and this was white's last chance, I think, to go for the king going after the pawn. Oh, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I've analyzed this wrong. King F4, no, H3, no, it's not. Okay, that was my impression when I was playing over the game. So the question now is, where does white actually lose this position? And it turns out King D6 and E5 is, but you're down to 23 seconds left. You see a check, give a check, and you're hoping you can stop black's pawn with your knight. But roundabout here now, the game is winning for black, and black finished it off by capturing white's knight. Rook is going to come out with check, and then it's an easy win. So good game by Gukesh there, and maybe a lot more interesting juncture in the game than one can give it credit for, playing at such a fast pace. 10 seconds left and 4 seconds left for the players.
Yeah, it looks like, I mean, white's got to get either more of a tactical threat or get the e-pawn up a couple more squares to be able to hold that.
Yeah. Well, so that was a win by Gukesh, but here he is playing Hikaru Nakamura. And notice this was in a match in round 4. And notice the respective scores. Nakamura 4 from 4, Gukesh 0 from 3 at this point.
Wow.
Okay. Well, so this game was a classic Gyoko Tabiya type game with an early H6. So maybe Dan, this is this really?
I think Nakamura has probably played these positions like a million times.
Yes, yeah, that's true. That's.
I mean, he's probably one of the, I don't know, half dozen world's experts on these. Along with Carlsen and Caruana. A lot of the top guys know these. Some of these lines are 33 to 35 moves deep. So in some correspondence games, people are like doing novelties on like move 29 or something, which is ridiculous because this is the line that everyone used to play to avoid theory.
Yeah, that's right. But Berlin is made it theory. Now, the other thing I wanted to ask you about is look at the top line by Stockfish in this position. White plays C3, preparing a thrust in the center, and
G5
responds with an attack on the wing. I mean, that's what Tarrasch said, right? An attack in the center should be met by a thrust on the wing. Oh wait, no, it's the other way.
Yeah, it's the other way around. Haha. Yeah, good one.
And the thing is, G5 is the kind of move that you usually see in 12-move victories by people like Kieseritzky over counts and bankers who could afford to pay him 10 ducats to play a game of chess.
That's exactly right. In the Italian game and in the Berlin, the Rook G8 and G5, and that's become all the rage when but to do that before white even castles seems a bit optimistic.
Oh yeah, that's right. Well, the main line shows white castling in response to G5,
which I see some of these, and in fact, I'm in a correspondence game right now. I'm looking at a move very deeply that to my eye looks like a Duffer's move, actually in a London system, and it's like we're relearning what we thought we knew about chess, and it turns out that some of these are either deep prophylaxis or gaining space that's hard for the engine to see ever going away. So here we are.
I don't think both move in Ruy Lopez on the third move after E45, knight F3, knight C6, bishop B5, move G5 right away on the third move.
Yeah, it's playable.
It's playable in
It's
Blitz.
bad, but it's playable.
In Blitz, you can almost 100% because first of all, you're gaining a minute right away. Then
Yeah.
there is no refutation of that move anyway.
Yeah, I know. Those white squares are horrible. I would never play it in correspondence, but for blitz it would be fun.
Yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely.
So Dan, both words you said, gaining space and prophylaxis, apply to White's next move, A3.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's got to be a double exclam.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Definitely from the Star Trek universe. H6, A3.
Wow.
Well, okay, G6 now. So Hikaru, likes to fee and counter the bishops, and now Gukesh does start playing some very simple moves. Okay, well, H3, of course, to stop.
I guess White is inviting Black to take an initiative. I don't know what else is.
Yeah. Well, no, but White now starts playing very sensible in the center moves, and White isn't technically ahead in development. It just felt like it after these moves. Because so I don't know. In fact, I don't know what Queen D7 is even about. Why did you play Queen E7 D7?
I don't know.
I guess because White castled, now threats against H3
Right.
are worthwhile. And
Yeah, I'm sorry. If Nakamura plays Queen D7 against me in this position, I'm terrified.
Yeah. So okay, yep. So there you have it. So Gukesh decided to forestall any idea of bishop takes H3. In fact, let's just see. Is the computer really thinking bishop takes H3 is on? Let's just play a normal move for White. And does the computer think no? Okay, not here.
I'm still terrified. It doesn't matter.
Okay.
It's Nakamura.
Even if it's bad, it scares me.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
it looked like the computer wanted G5 after Rook D1, and that would be an entertaining game.
That would
then comes G4, and that's exciting.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna get our entertaining game, all right. This becomes quite a slugfest. Okay, so now reaction in the center, and White decided to undo Black's pawns right away. White wasn't really set up to put pressure on E5 anyway, so by doubling on the E file, so instead just gets influence in the center the direct way, but of course allowing Black's knight to come in with tempo. So, well, Black still has to take a move to castle, right? Well, not for a while. So White's structure is perfectly sound. Black has a few weak squares, G6, E6. So it's a question of whether White can put any pressure, and White would like to exchange the bishop on G7. That's for sure. And here comes this exchange, exquisitely timed. But Nakamura is able to decline the exchange. So if you capture, then White can take on E5 with the knight and slide the other knight back to F3, and that's fine. But Nakamura just calmly inserts the knight before the bishop and castles. So now we have dynamic parity, but still White for choice because Black's position is much looser, and there are tactics in the game. And in fact, Rook AE8, the most natural move on the board, is allows White to create a tactical problem for Black. So is there anything really going on here? And the computer just wants White to play C3 and then says that Black can't do anything. Anyway, White plays H4, looks like a totally natural move too. And now Black can do something. And probably the reason C3 was prophylaxis against things happening by X-ray on the in the center. I don't know. Let's see when. So Rook takes F4, Bishop E5, Rook F8. Okay, I mean this is still fine for White. And now Gukesh can get the upper hand, but also worth noting the players were down to a few minutes left. So the computer says White should take. It'd be interesting to know what White thought might be loose in the event of taking. I mean, I guess what you see is if you take, Black has knight d4 maybe, and their pins might come into play. But it doesn't work. Anyway, White retreated the bishop to take pins off the table. And Black could have captured on h4. Wow, he had to uncover the attack on the bishop. But just simply played to try to solidify. And again, these are all completely natural moves being queried by the computer because this position is indelibly tactical. White can now just capture on h6 with the bishop, but there's a real fog of war effect with all the pins. So White decided to lessen the pin, but then realized something went wrong and moved back. And now, again, logical move, but just allowing White to capture that pawn. And may not have realized it was hanging to the extent it was. But let's attack back. So now Nakamura has at least achieved knight outposts on the light squares. Just down a pawn. And Gukesh, with 1 minute left, attacks a little bit too soon. Okay, more good squares for the knights. Yep. Okay, so we've won an exchange, but White still has more pawns and more avenues of attack. So now comes the most interesting juncture of the game. So the computer says White can win by playing bishop d2 and just relocating the bishop to c3. And of course, the computer is right here, but the move that Gukesh plays looks like it's delivering checkmate because knight f6 is coming. How can you defend it? Well, you can capture, and Nakamura down to 10 seconds. I have to say, did he calculate this or did he just luck into it? Suddenly, Black's king is snug as a bug in a rug.
Wow. Isn't that something?
Yeah. And so Gukesh flails, but all his pieces got chopped.
Well, sometimes in time pressure, having an only move is a gift.
Yeah, that definitely could be said. So a very spirited game by both players, but continuing the misery of Gukesh on home soil.
Wow.
I have one more lively game. This is by Wesley So against Vincent Keimer. And notice it's another case here of player adapting well to the rapid three wins from 3 against junior hopeful who he missed out on the candidates barely. He's missed out on the candidates a couple of times, but still considered one of the great junior hopes. He's still a teenager, I think. So therefore, it's a definite feather in the cap for the older Wesley So to outplay him in a game like this. And does so with the what's the name of the grandmaster?
The Gleck. John Edwards famously played this in the 32nd World Championship and got some really nice positions. In the end, he wasn't able to win them via correspondence, but some of those would have been would have been fairly easily won in over the board, I think. So
okay.
The Gleck is underappreciated, and one of the reasons that if someone plays 2 knight c3 against me, I answer with 2 knight c6 just to avoid some of the Gleck lines that wind up taking you into things that look like a Vienna or a King's Gambit decline. I don't know what this game is going to give us. I mean, Wesley has such a purely classical style that I could imagine that he would just crush someone positionally too. So anyway,
well, this game,
there are a lot of ways for the game to go.
Yep, and this one I wouldn't say is so positional, but
hello.
Yes, bishop c5 rather than playing d5 and trying
Goodness. Here we go.
So you know this to be a tactical line by Black?
Yeah.
Okay.
This is going to be fun.
Okay. Well, White does take a while to get going. White can't play f4 yet. d3, king h1's got to happen before White is able to really take action. And so decides not to follow that automatic path, but just go d4. So now, I mean, optically, I think Black is fine here. Got some counterplay pressure. On the other hand, it is true that White has a preponderance of pawns on the king side, and that's going to be, good for something later. b3. So now captures that way again, advantage Black, but White has more space in the center.
Yeah, he's going to win with the a pawn in the end game.
Yeah, let's see if that materializes.
Chances are it doesn't, but that would be my thinking, to have that that outside pass pawn in an ending.
Okay. Before the ending, the gods have placed the middle game.
Well, sadly, that's
I agree.
true.
I mean, I'm actually quoted in the current American Chess magazine talking about Capablanca's advice of envisioning endings. I'm the back page subject of the Naroditsky issue. Okay, well, gaining space. That's what Wesley So is on about, and the computer likes what Wesley So has been doing. Keimer decides to restrain White, did not want to face g4, but now White just continues gaining space, and it's going to turn out very nice in about 10 more moves. So now
that's a nice move.
Yeah,
I would have played g4 without thinking it. That I wouldn't have even thought of playing rook g5. That's pretty.
Yeah, g4. You're right. Yeah, the sort of giving White what White was after. Black's a7 bishop, breathes fire into mostly empty air. It has to be stepped around, but it's not necessarily doing things. He has a flurry of activity, but it's just a McFlurry.
McDonald's appreciates that.
Yes. White has actually made a perfect square for the rook on g3. Now, sorry, I meant to pause here. So now White is able to blow open the position with the space advantage. And the computer already sees that this is a more than 5 pawn advantage for White. So the computer can calculate this to mate already. Okay, basically. So that's the natural plan to try to keep up. But g7 is exposed, and here we go.
Yeah, wow.
And it's now very much all falling apart. The knight just shuts up the things and was threatening knight takes f5 and mate on f7. So Black tries to guard that, but loses the bishop, and all of White's
pieces. My goodness!
Kill. Yeah. So
massacre.
Yes. Wow.
Yes, it is.
Well, did I mention that I like playing knight c6 against that system, because none of those things happen if you do that.
Okay, yeah, it's true. Knight c6, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then if something like bishop c4, you can even play a5 on move 3, and that's just a totally different game.
What does a5 accomplish here?
It just kind of gains space on the queen side, and so
I would play f4 with no hesitation.
Yeah.
Well, okay. Yes, it's a
chess game.
It's a chess game, yeah. So, we are finding out that
a5 is better, like on move 5 than on 3. I might have been joking a little bit there, but a5 comes relatively early in these lines, and Black basically just does a deep prophylaxis. Yeah.
Yeah, we've learned from this book that we can push our A, H, G, and B pawns earlier.
Yeah.
That's right. Well, about this tournament, it's almost ending soon, and I'm watching it every day, and I still don't understand the system,
Well,
the
actually,
the team select.
Mehmet Ismail on Twitter just posted an analysis showing that the complicated scoring with black tiebreak system is really just equivalent to standard scoring with tiebreakers favoring black. So you can dispense with all the complexity.
Okay.
Calls himself Mehmet Mars 7 on Twitter.
What about the color selection when a team plays all games is the same color? That's never happened before. I don't recall it.
Yeah.
Did you notice that?
So really is a white. Well, it's a double round robin, so they can do that.
I see. That I didn't know. I didn't even know that. It goes to show that unless you know all of the details, it's mysterious. And sometimes, even if you know all the details, it's more mysterious.
Somebody should write the book about all the rules of this tournament, so people would have better understanding, because you are watching the games. Games are fascinating, very good games, excellent grandmasters, including world champions and so on. Actually, that's another tournament that shows today's meaning of world champion is becoming quite artificial, to say the best, because it's very seldom that he can score even 50% in a tournament.
Yeah.
Whether it's a fast game or so on. Okay, gentlemen, thank you very much for today's program. We will have a rest next week, and we'll enjoy watching the Rapid and Blitz Championship. And then the following week, we will get together, we'll discuss this fascinating tournament.
Wonderful.
All right.
Merry Christmas to all of you and your families.
Happy Hanukkah to you.
Happy New Year. Happy Hanukkah to all. Bye-bye.
Merry Christmas, happy holidays, and
go
Happy New Year.
Vanderbilt football.
Yeah, thank you.
Heisman, but might get some playoff wins. So.
Excellent.
All right.
Bye-bye, everybody.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.